it's in the best interest of our national security. No nation can afford to have a policy that allows a whole shadow world of 9 to 12 to 15, pick a number because the conservatives sure as hell do, a shadow world comprised of millions of people, because we know that there are threats against us. We know that there are those out there, Al-Qaeda and others, that want to come in and do us harm. So it doesn't make sense, from my viewpoint as chairman of the Intelligence Committee, to have a policy, a national policy that allows this shadow world to exist. We have to give people an opportunity. People that have been part of our community, people that have been working and paying their way, they haven't been freeloading, because we know way too many people in our communities that are an integral part of the community that we live in, whether it's El Paso or Los Angeles or Chicago or Denver or Tampa, Orlando, or Atlanta. All around the nation, there are these communities that we have to understand. We have to give them a reason to come out of the shadows. And like Lydia, I also think we need to say, you know, if you want to call it amnesty, I'll spell it for you. A-M-E and so forth. If you want to call it regularization like they did a few years ago, that's fine. But in the final analysis, let's not run away from giving people an opportunity to come out of that shadow world and be part of this great country of ours. That's the American way. That's the legacy that this country represents to all of us. And to whole generations of Americans, whether you're talking about the Irish, you know, to me, nothing tells the American story better than when on Capitol Hill they have an Irish Day. And they come to Capitol Hill to meet with us, members of Congress. You know why? To make us understand that we need comprehensive immigration reform. Because they understand. They were in the barrel once, and they want us to get beyond that and to recognize that it's in everybody's best interest to work on immigration reform, comprehensive immigration reform. And so the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is on record. We introduced on the House side the legislation, comprehensive immigration reform legislation. It was introduced by our dean under Salomon Ortiz from Corpus Christi. But the genesis behind that is Congressman Luis Gutierrez from Chicago and Congresswoman Nidia Velasquez, who was our chairwoman from New York City. Those Puerto Ricanos that aren't afraid to go out and say, you know what, if you're gonna knock us for saying it's time that we give people an opportunity, it's time that we provide for them and facilitate amnesty, here we are. And the whole caucus stood with them. And not only the Hispanic caucus, the Black caucus was there, the Asian Pacific caucus were there, and about 20 or 30 others from the Progressive caucus, the Blue Dogs, and others. Why? Because we wanted to send a message that it's time that we do this. The president, who by the way last Wednesday did a great job in his State of the Union speech, and I will tell you, a couple of hours ago he went to the Republican retreat, and I'll describe this as he kicked their ass. You know, he did. Because, and you know, I watched it, and I watched it on Fox News because I want to see what they're saying. I want to see what they're spinning. But they couldn't do very much because the president took every question they had and in a very intelligent way turned it on every one of them. He took them on, and as I said, he kicked their butts. Now what we need to do is we need to work together. We need to make sure that we move forward with immigration reform, comprehensive immigration reform. I think it's a matter of national security. It's also a matter of fairness. It's also keeping in line with the legacy of this great nation. We're all proud to call ourselves Americans, Americanos. We're all proud and have, whenever our nation has needed us, we've proudly worn our nation's uniform. I'll tell you, I get the opportunity to travel around the world. I've had the opportunity to travel multiple times into Iraq and Afghanistan. As all of you may know, the first casualty in Iraq was a Latino from California. Our community is serving proudly in every branch of the service and in the intelligence services. Our community answers the call. Our community deserves to be recognized, but more than that, our community deserves comprehensive immigration reform, and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is ready to move forward in conjunction with the President. So this is one of those major issues that we're going to work on. So again, welcome to El Paso. We hope that you have a successful conference. I've had a chance to, and for several weeks now, we've been looking at your agenda. It's a very comprehensive, very encompassing agenda. Part of this process is to make sure that from this conference comes an action plan that we can take in Congress and move forward, so that the kinds of things that are important, that you identify as important, take place for our community. So, del punto donde visitaba Pancho Villa, and where today we have a metroplex of about 3 million people. When you take into consideration Juarez, El Paso, and Las Cruces, we're a metroplex of about 3 million people. So again, welcome. We wish you well in your conference, and we anxiously await the products of this conference so that we can move forward and carry through the agenda that's so vital and important, and that each one of you can contribute to. Thank you all very much.